Welcome to the Campfire Podcast.
Oh, this is going to be a good episode, huh, Festin?
All right, welcome to the Campfire Podcast. Today we have our friend Connor on. We've all known Connor for quite a while. We grew up in youth group together, and so do you want to kind of introduce yourself, Connor, and tell us what growing up for you was like, and just a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, so I'm Connor. I'm 20, turned 21 in December. And I moved to Maui about 2018, August, I think that is. Before that, I was living in California, down SoCal, and then before that, I was living in Colorado. All up, traveling around throughout there, just because of my dad's job mainly, but that's what brought us here. My dad's a lineman electrician. Brought us out here in 2018, and been here ever since. Growing up here it's been cool, definitely, but I think it has its ups and downs, like everybody talks about. Everybody, when you tell them on the mainland, oh yeah, I'm from Hawaii, I live in Hawaii, they're all so psyched, they're stoked. But I think growing up here is a very different experience than visiting for a week. And I try to get that through to everybody, but you'll never really understand unless you grow up here. And it's different for everybody, but for me it was good, and then it got really hard. And I'm just kind of now finally coming out of like the hard phase of it, but the Lord has definitely been good and protected me from a lot. So
I would ask, when you say it was hard for you, what does that look like?
Well, I was always like a really curious kid growing up. I always was like, I kind of always learned the hard way on just about everything. And so growing up, I made my friends, and you know how it is. Growing up here, you kind of like who you grow up with is your clique, and everybody's got their clique. Like, you see groups of people, and it's like hard just to enter these different friend groups, and because you weren't there in the beginning through everything they went through together, so they just stay tight, and that's kind of how me and my friends are. And once we got older and kind of like, let me retrack a little bit, but for like the first few years of us all being friends, we all were having clean fun. It was always a good time, and never doing anything bad, going to church, going to youth group all the time. And then we kind of started to get our own freedom, and like the choice of church was like no longer, or like having to go to church was no longer like, what's the word that, it's like you have to go.
Like forced?
A priority?
Yeah. Or actually, exactly that. It was no longer a priority to me. I was like, whatever, I'm going to go do my own thing and just kind of live and have fun. And that led to me doing a lot of stuff I wish I didn't do. And a lot of pain for family and friends around me, and dragging people down in places that I should not have dragged them down in, and like leading people in the wrong way. I don't necessarily say I would lead people, like everybody makes their own decisions, but I definitely think I had a negative influence on some of my friends' lives at one point, for sure.
What would you say, like, when God entered the picture for you and became more real, and you're like, that's the God I want to follow? Like, when did he pull you out of your low point?
I think it was about 2 years ago now. I decided to go to YWAM, and the decision in going to YWAM is a whole story in itself. Like, at the time, that was the last thing I would do. I just thought of Christians and like the thing of YWAM as, these people are weird, man. And like, I claimed to be a Christian, but I didn't live my life for it in any way, shape, or form. So
can you tell the story of you going to YWAM?
Of like why I decided to go?
Yeah, like the whole story.
Was it? Did it have to do with Wyoming too? Like, didn't you not want to go to Wyoming, and then you went, right?
Yeah.
And like,
do you want to start at like the very beginning, like Wyoming until?
Yeah,
I thought you meant at birth.
It goes. It's hard to go from like the very beginning, just because it goes up and down, and like.
Well, give us an overview, I guess.
Okay.
We're here for the ups and downs.
All right.
Dude, we are here for you.
All right.
Not just since you're on the podcast, but that's a plus too.
And we have no time limit either, so if you want to just talk, like, we're here to listen.
I'm gonna take a pee break.
Well,
you just went, I thought.
It's the creatine.
Oh, yeah, that's definitely it.
He's on drugs, man.
No, but... So, yeah, we went to this Wyoming trip. All these guys were there, and I don't even know when that was or how old we were when we went. How old?
Like, we really our senior
We
year.
were like 18, 19.
18? Okay, yeah. So then it was, like, right before I went to YWAM. And even before that, I didn't even want to go on that trip. I had, like, told my parents, I was like, I'm not going, whatever. I do not want to go. Because they told me I couldn't have my phone, I couldn't have all these other things. And I was just like, yeah, whatever. I don't want to go. Then my mom was like, if you don't go, then you have to pay Pastor Kirk $1,000 because you already bought your plane ticket. And I was like, yeah, right, dude. Okay, I'm going. And that was great. That was super rad. And I think everybody there had, like, such a crazy spiritual encounter. And it was so moving for everybody and me, myself. And I thought that was going to be the kind of turning point, but it wasn't. It definitely wasn't. We came back and, like, I faced some stuff that kind of threw me to the ground. And it was only like a week. It was only like a 10-day trip. So it was kind of just like feeling the Holy Spirit and then not knowing what to do with it after. I was still kind of like, well, I felt like this. And then it just went away because of like a situation that happened. And I was told by somebody shortly after that trip that at my age, I cannot be used to glorify the Lord. And so right then and there, I was like, okay, then what's the point? All over again, I was back to phase one of like, okay, whatever. I'm just going to do my own thing. And clearly, if I can't even really follow the Lord at this age, what am I doing? You know what I mean? And then again, like, I didn't have to believe that lie. I just, like, I let myself believe that lie, which sucks because that just put me in a bad spot. Is that my phone? And then, yeah, so a few months goes by. The next year is coming around, January, and, dude, I was over everything, like, over life, and, like, I wanted to leave the island so badly. I knew I had to. I didn't know how to, though. Like, I didn't know what I was going to do to leave.
Plane?
Well, yeah. Well, I just didn't know what I would do. I kept saying, okay, I'm just going to dip. Where are you going to go? What are you going to do? How are you going to make money? And, like, YWAM was still an option, but I was so strongly, like, against that. And I don't know why. But one day I came home just, like, mental breakdown and was, like, crying to my parents. I was like, what? I'm going to go to YWAM. And, like, my mom freaked out. She's like, wait, what did you say? And I was like, wait, what did I say? Like, I didn't even – I swear the Holy Spirit just kind of threw it out of my mouth because that was the last thing I thought I'd say. And so I guess my mom had been praying that if for some reason I say the words, I'm going to YWAM, she's just going to, like, file it up right then and there. And I was going to go, no backing out. And that's what I did. And I went to my DTS in Idaho, Cascade, Idaho, and –
What, Idaho?
UW. No.
Bleep that.
But yeah, that was cool too. That was definitely what started, like, I think the building of my foundation of what I can, like, really step on and stand on. But again, coming home from that, oh man, I wasn't ready for it. I was like, I thought I was at this on top of the world point with God, and I'd felt so close to him for so long. So I, in my mind, was like, oh well, nothing's gonna be able to tear me down from this. I'm set. But what I think it was, like, where I went wrong is I had too much confidence in myself and, like, not enough not confidence in the Lord, but I just wasn't following him the same way as I was when I was there. But when I was there, I also wasn't surrounded by the darkness that is here. You know what I mean? Like, there you're in YWAM every single day, reading the Bible multiple times a day, doing worship, doing prayers, all this stuff every day. I was doing that for 9 months, and it got easy, and I got used to it. But then I got home, and it was like none of that was here. You know what I mean? And so I just kind of fell off the wheel again, made some bad decisions. But I had planned on going back to Japan for a mission trip on my own, and that was kind of always in the back of my head, like, trying to keep me aware of what I was doing, but I still kept falling short in areas and messing up here and falling there. And then it came around to go to Japan, and I kind of was, like, buckled up and was like, okay, dude, my mind has not even been in the right spot. How am I going to handle this? I went anyways, and that was great. That was great. It wasn't, like, a whole time of being poured into, so it wasn't like I was learning about the Lord in all these different ways and doing a bunch of worship time. It was kind of me trying to pour out. I didn't have a whole lot to pour out, clearly, because I didn't spend the last 6 months before I left filling up. I just kind of spent those times doing my own thing again. But I went there, and actually a cool story I would like to share about that is I almost kind of come to believe that I went to Japan for one purpose and one purpose only, and it was to meet this, there was this girl at this train station one day, and I was, like, skating at the top of it, and I seen her, like walk up these stairs, and I was like, oh, she's going to yell at me for skateboarding. I should probably stop. And she, like, walks up to me and starts talking to me about, like, what I'm doing in Japan, and she spoke English, too, which was crazy. It was, like, the first person.
She was Japanese?
She's Chinese.
Same thing.
Yeah. No. Close, but no. But I was just mind-boggled that she even spoke English because I'd been there for, like, 3 weeks already and not met, like, anybody that spoke English. And so fast forward, we hop on the same train somehow, and we're on the same train for, like, 2.5 hours. And that allowed me to share, like, my entire testimony and why I'm following this Lord that I can't even see. And that was her biggest question to me was, how are you following a God that you can't even see? Like, what does that mean? Why do you have so much, like, confidence and faith? And I was like, dude, I don't know. It's easy for me to believe, I guess. But I don't know. I had to talk with Kirk, and he was like, dude, that could have totally been the only reason that the Lord sent you there. And I did a lot of other things that, like, definitely I think the Lord is stoked about, but that was definitely a highlight of that trip.
What was, when you shared that, what was her response to, like, if you shared your testimony and about Jesus and why you follow God, how did she respond to that?
Her response was kind of like, she was really shocked. She was like, wait, what? Like, you're following? She never really heard of it. She never heard of Jesus himself. Like, so
that's wild.
Yeah, like, she had never, ever heard of Jesus Christ. And that was, like, so it was mind-boggling to her, and I'm sure it was hard for her to understand. And especially being, like, she was, like, 35, and she'd never heard Jesus, so being 35, it's like, what do you, like, you know what I mean? And it's not like I got to, like, watch her come to Christ, or I kind of made the mistake of not, like, offering her, be like, would you want to give your life to Jesus Christ? I was just kind of stunned in the moment of being able to talk about the Lord for 2 hours. I was so shocked. But I don't know, she seemed super open to it. We downloaded the Bible app on her phone, and I was like, dude, you should just read it and see what you find. I definitely don't have all the answers, but they're in there, most of them. And so that was really cool. That was helped, like, the rest of the trip just be like, okay, I'm on fire, let's go. But
so what did that interaction do for you?
Well, it made me
you said you
realize,
didn't...
like, I had, like, a purpose of being there. Because, dude, for the first few weeks, I was in, like every expectation of going to Japan just fell through immediately as I landed. I was like, oh my goodness, this is insane. I'm alone in Japan, and I just barely found a place to sleep. And, like, I know I could have found a place to sleep, like found a hotel or something, but, like, connections that I had that I was supposed to have just kept falling through. So it was just so hard, and I was scared and was lonely. So I didn't really, like, understand. I was like, God, why did you bring me here, dude? Like, why did I feel this calling so heavy on my heart? And what could I possibly be doing in Japan right now? Nobody wants to talk to me. Nobody can understand what I'm saying to them. And then that happened. And it was just kind of like, I feel like it was just God saying, you know, no, you're here for a reason. Just keep pressing in. Forget about the 6 months before you came here. You're here with me now. Let's do this thing. So I definitely started diving in harder after that. But then same thing, same story. Came back, failed again. Like, if I had $1 for every time I failed the Lord, I'd be a millionaire.
You'd be so rich, dude.
So rich, so rich. But it sucks. Like, it sucks so much. And Japan, up until, like, 3 weeks ago, that was the last trip I went on. But I just got back from Indo, and so that changed my life.
What do you think it is that keeps drawing you back? Like, you have all these moments with God, and then you, like, come back, and then you're, like, back to the same cycle. Do you think it's your own decisions, or, like, the friends you hang around, or what is it? What do you think? Or is it just, like you have spent this time in, like, ministry, and then, like, you're, like, spending all this time with God because you're obviously seeking Him to do all these things on the mission field, and then you come back, and then you're like under attack, or like what's going on?
No,
Like,
so
what do you think is going on?
what I actually just realized is like, I just realized that the answer to the question you're asking me recently is, dude, I just been compromising my faith and who I am and who I know, like, and how I know to live for stupid things, for friendships, for people, like even like some of my close friends. It's not like we're necessarily like they want to do bad things, but I still compromise to like follow them or follow this idea or date this person because, you know what, whatever, it can't be that big of a deal. You know what I mean? It's like just like lies I've been telling myself for the longest time. And it's the same few lies, and like I never really recognized them. Like my mom has always been able to pinpoint out all of these, but when she pins them out, that's when I listen like even less. I'm like, you're wrong. You are wrong. You're wrong. And
I know you're right, but you're wrong.
exactly. It's like I'm telling myself, oh, she is so right, but I'm not gonna tell
Shout out
her.
Amanda.
Yeah, shout out to my mom. I love her, but she's like probably 99% right sometimes, but other times.
Well,
It's fine. It's fine to say 100% of the time, or
No, she's not
100% of the time.
Well, there's a verse in James, I think it's James 1, and it talks about how God doesn't tempt us, but that we tempt ourselves with our own sinful desires. And it's like those desires, they start in your heart, and then they start with a look, and then a look leads to an action, and action leads to sin, and then ultimately sin leads towards death. And I think the struggle that you have, Connor, in finding this consistency with a walk in Christ, it can just be like, I've seen this in myself too. Like it can be a lack of self-control, self-discipline, and then the same, it's rad too, because on the last podcast, I talked about this too, just like being lazy. And I feel like that goes back earlier to even this year, because I also went on to a Christian surfers trip earlier this year, and I know we want to get into your Indo trip too, but it was rad. I went with Mike, who we've had on our podcast too, and we all know Mike really well, but I just felt God telling me not to be lazy. And when you're around that, when you're around guys that are on fire for Christ, that really spurs you on, and you're in this awesome Christian bubble, and you're in the water, you're telling people about Jesus, like these other guys are coming to back you up, and you sow a seed and someone comes and waters, and you're like, this is just like what Paul is talking about how people are coming to Christ and that God uses us. And then you come back, and all of a sudden it's so easy to forget what God has done, and we're human and we forget and we mess up. But I think to a certain extent, like we can't always use that as an excuse. When we've tasted and we've seen the goodness of God, like there's this responsibility we have to continue to follow Christ. Like Isaiah's dad always talks about, and because Michael Heiser talks about it, believing loyalty. Like I believe this, but even the demons believe. So right. Am I a demon? No, I really hope not. But like just saying you believe, you have to believe it and live it. And like for you, Connor, I really hope and pray for you too, like this last, that you hold on to it, that God gives you wisdom, that he gives you self-control, and the Holy Spirit, he'll just completely drown out all these other thoughts and desires that come to you. Because I remember, was it this year when we had coffee that one time and talked?
Yeah, that was like a couple months ago.
Yeah, that was you were going through the same thing where you just wanted to leave because you felt like this island is dragging you down.
Right.
And I think it's okay to admit, like, to be honest with God, with your feelings, and just say, God, this is too hard for me. Like, I cannot do it. But we also know that God, in our temptation, that he makes a way of escape. He has a path to victory, and not to just like focus on I'm weak, but focus on God's strength too. And like God, he's opened up a door for you, right? To go off the island. Is that
Yeah.
what you're planning on doing? Like not necessarily that you're running away from these things, but I think that God has given you
the opportunity.
Yeah, like an opportunity to actually, maybe you have this desire and you've been struggling with it, and then I think it's
also
cool.
Giving me the opportunity up until then to face everything here, because like I totally like what you're saying, like it's our fault, you know what I mean, falling, and I totally can look back and look at everything I've done wrong and be like, dude, that's all you, bro. And it's funny that you're saying the God gives us the way out, because me and my dad just had this talk like right when I got back. Like, dude, he gives you the way out. You just have to choose to see it. But, and also, you're saying you're praying for, like, my heart to switch and stuff. And, dude, in the last, like, 3 weeks, like, I've, like, verbally heard the Lord tell me things that I'm just, like, I don't even know if I could ever let go of them. Like, my heart feels like it's literally been flipped around and put into a different position. I couldn't even explain it to you, man, the level that, like, I'm at with the Lord now, and it's, like, you know what I mean? And it's not like I could totally look at, like, coming back from Wyoming, coming back from all these trips and be like, oh, yeah, I was on a spiritual high, blah, 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 blah. Dude, the Lord had, like, he, like, dug things out of me while I was gone, dude, and, like, threw them away, and, like, I could cry, bro. It's so crazy. And I've, like, said things to friends, like, when I've been back, like, right when I got back, I called some friend, was like, called a couple of them, and like, hey, dude, do not call me to come here or there. If you're going to go there, don't let me know. I don't want to go. Like, I can't go. And just, like, the Lord pinpoint, like, 100 different things that I need to, like, tear out of my life now and get rid of. And it was literally that. It was, like, not the Lord saying this is your last chance, because obviously that's not a thing, but it was just, like, me telling myself, no more. There's no more one foot in, 1 foot out. Like, dude, you're all in. And I don't know. It's been, oh yeah, that trip wrecked me, dude, in such a great way.
Do you want to get into that?
Yeah, go
Hey,
into it.
Isaiah, stop. No. I'm taking over. This is my podcast now. Look at me. I am the captain.
Love this.
Yeah, dude, let's hear about your Indo trip, and like if you want to share.
Aren't we jumping the gun here?
Whoa.
What does that
I mean,
mean?
are we? I don't know. I just wanted to, like, at least say that part before we get.
Say your part, Feston.
No, I'm like, we're like moving like from here, and then we're coming back here, and then we're like, because the Indo trip is like a recent trip, so.
Well, that's like the most recent thing. We're kind of there now.
We started at the
Alright.
beginn No, wait.
We
Do you
just
have
kinda
questions,
jumped into
Feston?
Everything.
No.
Okay.
He does.
You need to get a little closer to
We
the
could backtrack too. That's how they do movies.
Really?
Yeah. Sometimes like Star Wars.
Oh, I never seen it.
Oh.
Are you Christopher Nolan?
Yeah.
What?
All right, that's
All right,
cool.
we get into.
This is like the least I've heard Feston talk on a podcast. It's pretty crazy.
I know.
Wait,
You want to go into Indo?
oh, are we okay? Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't know if Feston had something to say. Yeah. So, going into Indo, I was like, for like the past couple months, I've been like so waiting for this trip of just, oh man, I'm excited because it was literally two of the coolest things. I'm going to go surf and I'm going to go dive into the Bible. And I was like mentally prepared to just like let go of a bunch of things and just see what God had to do with me on that trip. And going in, the first couple days, it was just me and Emily there, and I like didn't know what to expect. I was about to meet a team from San Clemente that I didn't know any of them at all, and I was kind of scared that they were going to be like super introverted or something and just not like on fire people. That was like, I was starting to get scared. I was like, oh no, please Lord, please let these people be rad. And so I met the team, and dude, they're the coolest people I've ever met in my entire life. Like, I mean, you guys are pretty rad too. Dude, but I like
Is that another peer break?
Yeah.
it is.
Oh my god. All right, continue.
But everybody there just had like, they had something to say that the Lord wanted them to say to me. And I think what I've noticed in my life is that the Lord uses people to talk to me, like, more than anything. Like, I've heard the Lord speak to me, like, in my own head and stuff, but he uses people to speak to me, and it'll be like, whoa, dude, no way, you just said that. That is everything I need to hear, and I got to see different things. I got to see, like this girl, the life that she was living was something that I have never seen before, and it, like, made me realize the man that I am, and it was, like, disappointing. Or, like, the man that I thought I was, I really wasn't, but it made me realize, holy smokes, like, that's the kind of girl one day that I hope to pursue and marry, but the man that I am now never will get a chance to do that, because I'm one foot in, 1 foot out with the Lord, and I'm not diving it, like, just wasn't the man I need to be, you know what I mean? And I was praying.
What was it about her story that made you realize those things about yourself?
It wasn't about her story. It was just about, like, the life that
Yeah,
she
like
was saying.
Yeah, like what kind of character or like what kind of girl was she that
Proverbs
made
31,
you think?
all the way. Proverbs 31, dude. The whole thing.
You guys are already talking about her?
Oh, yeah, he missed it.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, what?
But it was just, like, a thing for me to realize, like, the person that I'm not, you know what I mean? And it wasn't just her either. There was plenty of people there that spoke things into me where, like, it's like, dude, what am I doing? I'm fumbling in every part of my life right now, and I really, like, wasn't fumbling as hard as I have in the past, but I just, like, I could be living for the Lord harder and better, and you know what I mean? And I've always had this desire to get married and have kids and have a family. And I remember a couple weeks ago, maybe a couple months ago, we were in our men's group at Mike's house, and we were going over Proverbs 31 and all this stuff. And it's like, oh yeah, this is the kind of girl you look for, blah, 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 blah. And in my mind, I'm kind of just like, okay, yeah, whatever, dude. Yeah, right. There's no, like, women out there that are, like, fully like, at least not on Maui, you know what I mean? And not on
Let's just say the ones you've met, the ones you are attracted
Exactly.
to are not like that.
Exactly.
Yes, let's just
exactly
say
that.
But there are like those on Maui, but they're just not the ones you
The
want.
girls that I've met or even dated just
the ones
weren't,
that
like,
you attract.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
But the girl there, she just showed me that she didn't have to tell me this or anything. It was just me praying to God. I went on a walk one morning, and I was just like, God, where am I, like, what am I doing wrong? Like, and what is happening? Why is this person making me feel this way? And why, all this other stuff. And the Lord was just kind of like, dude, you're going to keep living 1 foot in, 1 foot out, and you've seen what that does. So you can either...
Yeah.
She was making me feel like, holy smokes, I'm not the person I need to be. It wasn't like some weird, you know what I mean? It was like...
No, it's not in a weird way.
I really couldn't...
Okay.
What I'm saying is that the Lord showed me that the life that I was living and trying to live, clearly I wasn't trying very hard, is going to lead me nowhere. I'm going to keep dating people being in relationships that go nowhere, with people that, you know, they might be good people, but I just shouldn't be dating them. Like it says in the Bible, I couldn't tell you where, but do not be unequally yoked. And that's very clear. But I've looked at that and just been like, you know, whatever. Maybe I could be a light for this person. And that's a lie. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, you could be, but you don't have to date them to be the light for that. Like, you don't have to date them to be a light for them. And I just kind of try to jump past that every time. And so it was just seeing that I need to live a life that glorifies the Lord and stop worrying about when I'm going to get married, when this is going to happen, when that's going to happen, and just give the Lord my life, dude. And, you know, you might fall, you might fumble, you're going to fall on the ground and get scraped up, but the Lord's going to be right there to pick me back up, and I'm going to keep pushing on, because it was like I saw glimpses of my life that were, like, so dark, but I saw that the Lord was just waiting for me to, like, grab his hand and be like, dude, this is it. This is the time now that you're not turning around. It's me and you till the end. Let's do it. And I was just like, whoa, dude. And so, like, coming back, it wasn't like, it was hard the first couple of days just because I was bummed that I wasn't with the rad group of people that I was with. Like, all of them are so cool, dude. And I was, like, the youngest one there, but which is nice because everybody was, like, spiritually way more mature than I was. So it was literally I was being poured into almost 100% of the time. And it was, like, enough to keep it in me. And it was enough for me to realize who I am and who I need to be and who I can't be anymore. Like, it was fun, and I kept holding on to these things like, oh, my friends are leaving. I want to do this with them before they leave. I want to do this with them before I leave and just have a good time and go do this and that. But I was like, dude, really? Like, you would rather do that than follow me here, follow me there? Like, and I have no idea where the Lord's leading me, dude. I want to do this lineman apprenticeship in March, but he could call me away from that any second, and I'm gone, dude. I'm not doing that no more, you know what I mean? And that's kind of how it has to be. But, the Lord is so good, man. I, like, fumble my words way too much talking about it because there's just so much that he showed me, and I'm so grateful. Like, I've been home, and I've been doing things with my life that I've never done before, even in YWAM. Like, going to YWAM, they had special times throughout the day that were like, okay, you're going to go do a quiet time now. We're going to go pray now. We're going to go worship now. And, like, I've only been home for a week, but, like, dude, I've been doing things throughout my week that I have never done before. I fasted for the first time yesterday, dude, and, like, I was praying, like, because I was asking my dad about it. I was like, dude, I don't really want to. I tried once, but I gave in, like, so quick.
You got hungry?
I was hungry, dude. I ate a cookie, too. I saw a cookie. I was like, I need that cookie. And
Trying to hide the cookie from God covered in it.
and I just was like, okay, dude, fasting's not my thing. And then my dad was telling me about it. I was like, dude, I'm going to fast. And I did, dude, and I wasn't hungry, like, but I was praying to the Lord all day. Like, I'd get hungry for a second. I'd just be like, Lord, take this away from me. And even desires, dude, it was the craziest thing. I've been asking the Lord every single day, Lord, take these fleshly desires away from me. Like, I don't want them. And, dude, gone, bro. And I've never, like, I think my biggest thing was I was always trying to fight the battle myself and saying, Lord, I don't want to do this. But I would still try to fight it myself and run from it. I was, like, running from Satan, but Satan's kind of, like, a lot faster than I am. And, like, I wasn't chasing God, so it wasn't working. I just kept falling. But, like, I've seen the Lord's strength in my life in the past 2 weeks, and it's, like, crazy what he can do. You know what I mean? And, like, I woke up this morning, and, I felt like crap for some reason. I just was, like, felt bummed and felt sad, and I literally have no idea. I just woke up, like, in such a terrible mood. But then I was, like, praying all morning. I was like, Lord, take me out of this mood. Take me out of this mood. Please, God, please, God, please. And just praying for his strength because I knew I was going to get to work, and if I was in a bad mood at work, then that would have just made my whole day crappy, and I did not want to do that. And, dude, he took it away, and I've been joyful and cheerful all day, and it's because of him, you know what I mean? I think everybody's relationship looks different, but I think, like, the foundation that everybody has is follow the Lord and love him and, like, literally give up your life for him. And that's all I'm trying to do is give up everything and follow him.
When you tell your friends that, are they surprised? Are they shocked because of the old Connor they used to know? And
oh, yeah. I mean,
used to know?
Yeah. Not so much anymore, like, especially after YWAM. After YWAM, I always kind of had, like, the foundation of, like, I'm trying to follow the Lord. I'm just not doing the best at it. And we, like, always been making sure that we are going to church, holding each other accountable. Dude, why are you not going to church, bro? You know, stuff like that. But, like, there's just been areas where we fumble and I make this mistake. But I'm sure they are surprised. They didn't really say anything, like, they were kind of just like, okay, yeah, me too. I'm not going to do this. I won't go there anymore. I was like, okay, rad, but I'm just saying, like, if you do, don't let me know. I'm not going. And I don't want you to tell me because I don't want to feel tempted to go.
Yeah, even have the option.
Right, I don't want the option.
Why play around when you've seen its destruction?
Right, exactly. And that was another thing I wanted to mention is, like, dude, I swear I love juggling fire, dude. Just to, like, I don't love it. I just keep doing it. And
it's the adrenaline.
I keep getting burned, bro. I keep getting burned. I was, and
You're good.
I'm good. Okay. But not no more, dude. I'm not juggling no fire ever again. I've been burned way too many times. But I don't know why I noticed it now, or like why I've had all these realizations now. I think it's also because it's like an opportunity to realize that if I am gonna go to this apprenticeship in March, that, dude, I'm going to go work around a lot of people who are living a life that's way darker than any of the people that I've ever been around here, you know what I mean? And I can either spend the next 5 months goofing around and playing around and not care about my relationship with the Lord, and then I'd go, and then it'd probably get a whole lot worse. But I kind of feel like it's the Lord showing me, like, dude, let's build this relationship together now, so when you go, you're good and you're strong, and we can just keep going, and you can be a light. And I mean, I don't necessarily know if that's like what he is saying, but that's just what it really feels like. I don't want to go into that blinded, you know what I mean? I want to go into that with the Lord and fighting it with the Lord's strength and not mine. Yeah.
Well, that's really cool. I have a question. Kind of going back to YWAM. Is there anything that happened in YWAM that like really stood out to you, or any cool stories or anything at all?
Yeah, I mean, the first time I heard the Lord's voice, it's funny, it kind of relates to basically everything I just said, but they told us, it was like the whole week was hearing the Lord's voice. That was the topic for the week, and one day they made us do like an exercise for it. They were like, hey, just go out, walk around, do whatever you want, and pray, and just ask the Lord to speak to you. And so I went out, and I'm walking on, well, I didn't even realize, but I was walking on the frozen part of the river. Like, the water's flowing like 5 feet across me, but I'm on the ice. And I'm praying to the Lord, like, God, please speak to me. Like, I've never heard your voice. Please speak to me, blah, 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 blah. And then I just kind of, like, dozed off and started thinking about something else. I probably thinking about snowboarding or something. And, dude, but the second that my thought drifted and shifted away from the Lord, I broke through this ice. Like, I fell, and my whole, like, both my legs are just covered in water up to my knees. I'm freezing cold. But then I was like, I just snapped back in, and I was like praying to the Lord. I was like walking back up to the house, and I was like, oh, Lord, sorry, I lost focus. Please speak to me. And then it was like, he just did. And by that, it was like, if you take your focus off the Lord for a split second, you're going to fall. You know what I mean? And that's exactly what happened. I fell into this ice, and I was freezing cold because I lost, like, I mean, I'm not going to say it's because I lost attention to the Lord, but it was just like, that's how he decided to speak to me in that moment, was me falling into ice cold water. And that's what I got from that, and that was definitely a highlight of just hearing. But then I still, after hearing that, the Lord speak for the first time, I still fell through the ice 100 more times in different ways. You know what I mean? It took a lot to get to where I feel like I'm at right now.
You're like the modern day Peter then. You're walking on the water. You're trying to talk to God or whatever, and then all of a sudden you lose focus and bam, you're in the water.
Yep.
And then you deny him 3 more times
No.
before the rooster crows.
I'll never do that. No way.
That's what Peter said.
Yo! No, dude. That's not even funny.
Oh, wait, I have a question, a quick one about Indo. Do you have any surf footage?
Dude, I have like 2 videos.
We could post them on our Instagram.
Why do you want to post them on your Instagram?
Because you're on our podcast.
Oh, you want to post my surf videos? One of them's kind of sick. I did a sick snap off the lip.
Okay. We'll put it to music.
You can make it look.
Yeah, it'll be lit.
You can do your thing.
But yeah, there's a lot more photos than anything.
Yeah, I saw that one picture of that right.
Yeah.
Like Emily was posting. It looked so good.
It was crazy.
Were the lineups empty too, or was it crowded?
Not empty, but there was like 10 people out just about everywhere we went. And sometimes it was just our team, which was 10 people. Dude, and so we just got to surf for hours, like.
Yeah.
And it was great. It was so good. But that, like, honestly wasn't even, we could have not surfed and it would have still been the best trip ever. Dude.
Yeah. That's so cool. I'm
That's
stoked
really
you
cool.
went on that trip and
Oh, dude.
like it was that good for you, and the people were awesome. You got to do cool things,
Yeah.
and like God used it all.
He did, man. I needed that. I remember like calling my mom a couple days and I was like, Mom, I needed this trip more than you knew, dude. Like more than any of us know. Like, oh my gosh, I couldn't even explain to you. Like I don't know what I would have done if I didn't go on that trip.
And it's interesting too because you, like, I don't know if you knew it at the time when the trip was planned, but you were like giving up things or times to spend with some of your closest friends and like big things to happen in their life. Like,
Yeah, I missed my best friend's like engagement party.
yeah,
Wait, what else? What?
Cannon leaving too. Like,
Yeah, my bet, dude. I gotta see my. And dude, the worst thing about that is that the night that I left for Indo, he kind of thought that he wasn't gonna go to Colorado. So we were like, oh, you're gonna be back when I get back, and we were still like, all right, well, if I don't, I'll see you later. If you don't leave, I'll see you later. But if you do, I love you. But it wasn't enough, dude. It was still like, I got back and I was like, holy smokes, dude, Cannon's gone. He is in the military and Hudson's getting married. I'm happy I got to film that, though. That was special.
I know that was cool videos.
That was really fun.
well, good for you for not letting, like, those could have been some hard things, but like you didn't let it get the best of you, like
Right. No.
being bummed out.
I knew that I could feel it even before I went to that trip. Like, I had to go on that trip. It wasn't like, we got to the airport or I flew over to Honolulu with my boards and, dude, I'm rechecking my bags to get on the Philippines Airlines and they told me, oh, this is going to be $630 for all 3 of your boards. And my jaw dropped, dude. I was like, you want me to pay $600? And like call my family and I was like, dude, I don't even want to go anymore. This is insane. I could buy a brand new board for this. And that was like, oh man, why am I going to Indonesia right now? Why? But actually it was cool because I got to give away both the 2 boards to some guys and they were probably stoked. And then it was just like, dude, whatever, bro. That $600 meant nothing compared to how much that trip meant to me. I would have paid the $600 to come back. Like, you know what I mean? I wouldn't even have cared because of how good that trip was. Oh, it was so good, dude. Loved it so much.
So you said that after you went to YWAM, you went and you lived in Japan for a little while. Why did you choose Japan?
So I went to Japan for my outreach during my DTS. Towards the end of it, we only went for like 2 weeks, but to do skate and surf ministry. And, well, I was the only one on my team who skateboarded or surfed. So when we went there, I was just like all in the whole time. Every time there was a skate option to like do skate ministry, I was like, dude, I'm there. And our team like wouldn't be there all the time, but it was just me be going. And I connected with everybody so well, and a lot of like the YWAM staff and this guy named KK, who's the director for Christian Surfers over there, and this other guy who's a filmer who did some, he films documentaries for, like, in Japanese so that the people in Japan can, like, hear these skaters talk about their testimony and stuff like that. But anyways, like, I just became really close with all of them, and there was, like, 10 people who told me, dude, you need to come back to Japan. You should move to Japan. And I was like, whoa, dude. And then finally, like, one day I woke up and I was like, holy smokes, I'm coming back to Japan, dude. I have to. I've got to. So, like, we landed, and we had a week left of our DTS. And as soon as that week, like, was over, my mom flew out to Idaho, and we had to drive from Colorado there, but bought the tickets right there. And it was, like, 9 months away. But I just knew, it was, like, the first time I've ever felt the Lord call me to go do something. And in our DTS, we kind of learned, like, dude, when the Lord calls you to do something, you should probably go do it. So I was kind of terrified of, like, what would happen if I didn't go.
Like Jonah.
Yeah, I was like, oh, I got to go to this. I'm so scared of what I don't do. But also Mike Woodard, he talks about, like the blessings we miss out on if we don't answer the Lord's callings. And, dude, if I wouldn't have gone, I would have missed out on so many great things. And I'm sure cool things would have happened here, but it was an adventure that the Lord wanted to take me on, and it was great. Yeah.
That's really cool.
Do you guys read Bob Goff?
Who?
Bob Goff.
Feston does.
I read his book. Wow, Mike gave it to me.
Oh, dude, he's got multiple. I just finished Undistracted today. Bro, so good.
You read books now?
I listen to books.
Oh, okay.
Dude, Mike gave me a book for my 23rd birthday. I think I didn't read it until like last year.
Was it called Love
I finished it. Yeah, I didn't even finish the physical book. I had to get the audio version because I was like, I'm not gonna read this.
It's hard to read books.
All of his audio on Spotify, dude. He's got all of his audio books.
For free?
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you
No way.
If you have like.
Oh. I have Spotify Premium with my dad's card. I don't know how that happened, but it was just set up that way.
Yeah, here Spotify Premium. They've got books on there now.
Remember that, Feston? When I got it, you were there?
Why are you telling me? Your dad is gonna listen to this and it's gonna cause
No,
a
my
bad
mom is
cancel
going to
this
listen and
place.
she's going to tell my dad. But they'll forget. They're getting like
They're at that age.
up there.
Oh my god! I don't think they're gonna
Smoked,
forget after
dude.
you
I
said
can't believe
that.
you just said that.
Do you have any questions?
Forget after you just said
Yeah.
that.
So what would you give your overview on YWAM? Is it something that like as a Christian you should go, or like is it something that's like required? Like obviously not required.
No,
but
definitely not required. Most definitely not. I mean, I think it was great, and I think there's like YM has a bunch of different schools that I think are so cool, like an SBS. I think Ethan's doing that right now. Oh no, he's staffing, but it's like you read the Bible over and over again for like 9 months. I think you read it like 5 times in 9 months, which I think is super cool. But you have to do a DTS to do that, and I think like I could look at some people and I think a DTS could be kind of like beginner level stuff to them. You know what I mean? I think it's definitely a foundation builder. So like I wouldn't recommend like Pastor Kirk doing a DTS. You know what I mean? Like, you know, like there's no way. But and which kind of is a bummer because there's people like I don't know, maybe even you guys that are already super mature in your faith with the Lord and like really understand, and you can definitely still learn a lot, I'm sure, in the DTS for like things you haven't heard probably, but it's like if you want to do the SBS, you have to do the 6 months, and then you have to do the 9 months, and then there's other things throughout DTS that kind of take discernment, you know what I mean, and like you have to be like, okay, let me fact check you on this and search the Bible for myself for certain things. And I find that kind of a bummer, too, because you'll have kids that go in there that know jack diddly do about the Lord, and they're just going to, like, retain anything you say. Like, you got them there, you started preaching, they're hooked. Now you can feed them whatever, and they're probably going to listen to it, and that's what they're going to believe, you know what I mean? And there are certain things where I was like, I'm glad that, like, I definitely have always kind of had, like, the Holy Spirit in me to tell me, like, when certain things are right and wrong. And I've always had the option to listen to it or not. But there was things where I was like, yo, dude, that's not accurate. Like, and it kind of freaked me out a little bit. Not freaked me out, I was just like, okay, get on. Like, I don't need to listen to that. I know that's not legit. But then there was also things where I was like, holy smokes, this is crazy. This is the craziest thing I've ever heard in my life. You know what I mean? So it's just kind of, it has its ups and downs. And I think it was not mandatory, but I definitely believe I had to do that for sure. I think the Lord had to take me away from being home where I was comfortable, because I didn't want to leave the island at that point. I was fine staying. Oh, wait, not really, but I was like, didn't want to be there. I didn't want to be in YOM, and the Lord took me up and put me somewhere where I was honestly, like, more uncomfortable. I remember walking into that place, I was like, walked up the stairs, and my dad walked with me, and I remember when he gave me a hug and said, like, bye. I was like, dude, please take me back with you. I don't want to be here. No way. Do not leave me here. I walked into, like, a library-looking living room, and I was like, oh, no. Oh, no. What have I done? But it was a rad 6 months. Super fun.
And then I would say my question would be, before you started walking with Christ, what was the view of God that you had? And then what changed? Like, a question to follow that would be, like, how do you see God and what attribute do you see in him?
Now, like, how do I see God now?
Well, like, answer.
The before. Yeah,
Yep.
okay. Well, I mean, like, I was raised in a Christian home, and so I've kind of always known God is real. God is the way to heaven. He's the only way, and we're supposed to have a relationship with him. And it wasn't like I viewed God in a negative way of like, oh, I don't believe in him. How could I believe in something I can't see? And it was always something really easy for me to believe. I just always knew that was truth. It was more of just whether or not I wanted to live it out or not. And I didn't want to at the time. But now I see God as like, holy smokes, it's like more than just believing that you're the way to heaven. Like, you are my king, dude. You are my savior. Why would I do anything else but follow you and give my life to you? And, like, I don't have to worry about anything if I do that. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, life's going to hit me with a brick, and I'll be stressed out about things or fall down, fall in the gutter. And sometimes I'll take the wheel and try to drive the truck myself. But, dude, in the end of the day, like, God is still number one. And I wouldn't have been saying that 2 years ago. I'd been like, oh, yeah, I believe in God. He's cool. And that's about it.
Yeah.
That's like the most of an answer I could have gave you a long time ago.
Who has God proven to be through the whole walk? Like,
Consistent.
yeah, consistent.
Yeah, like, he's just, because I was actually just praying about that the other day of just like, holy smokes. I was just giving thanks to him because, like, dude, I do not deserve your love and your mercy at all, but like, I was just, like, bringing up a bunch of past stuff that I've already, like, asked for forgiveness for. But I was like, dude, you saved me here. You saved me there. Why? I do not deserve it at all. Like, and so he's just consistent to love me no matter what I do. And I used to take advantage of that. And I'm sure everybody does. Like, everybody wakes up and sometimes they take advantage of the Lord's grace, you know what I mean? But it was just like, dude, you're so good. Thank you for saving me. Like, I could have gone in a car accident here. I could have, like, you know what I mean? I could have done this or that. I could have made that left turn or that right turn, or because I made this decision, I could have died. And I'm still sitting here today because that wasn't, like, the plan they had for me. And it's crazy to think about it like that. It's even crazier to think about, like, I was thinking about this on my drive to work today. I was like, dude, isn't it weird that, like, the Lord knows everything I'm going to do? And you know how people have the argument of, like, oh, do you really have free will? Like, if the Lord already knows what you're going to do, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But then I was like, dude, yeah, you do, because you could have, like, 100 million different options, but the Lord knows what you're going to do, what's going to happen with each one of those
every
options,
single
dude.
circumstance.
Every circumstance. So you're screwed either way. You have no, like, he's got it under control, but you do have free will, you know what I mean? You can't. It's such a crappy argument. Oh, it's crazy to me how people argue with that one. It's like, I don't know.
We can't even comprehend that. I remember Pastor Kirk, he was like, God sees these millions and billions of different connection points and outcomes of your decisions through everything in life. And there's no way we're going to ever understand that here on earth. Like, how can our minds comprehend the battle between, or it's not a battle, but it's like how it makes sense that we have free will and that God's in control. There's just no way. Right. But like Connor said, we're kind of screwed either way. If we make bad decisions.
Exactly. Like, but that's why I've, like, not simple faith, but it's just like, I believe in the Lord so easily. Like, no way would I ever choose to get in, like, a theological question of, like, what came first, the chicken or the egg kind of deal. Like, because I could care less. I could care less. It's like, dude, the Lord did this, and that. I'm just going to believe it because why would I believe anything else? You know what I mean? So it blows my mind when I hear, like, podcasts and, like, the ones when they go to colleges and talk to people. Mm-hmm. It's like, dude, do you really think you're smart because you're asking the question? You're kind of dumb because you're asking the question. Like, it's obviously a question nobody can answer. So,
the chicken or the egg?
No, people actually. Wait, I don't even know the answer to that.
It has to be the chicken. I don't think God created an egg.
Right? Yeah, definitely. But still, I just, like, when I was driving to work, it was so funny. I was like, dude, I'm never gonna understand why, like, or understand my life and what you have to do. I could choose 100 million options, and you already know what's gonna happen. Why would I care? I'm just gonna follow you, and those things will unravel as it goes.
You got anything, Festin?
Big dog.
No.
Still alive over there?
Talkative side is coming out of me. Oh, it's probably because it's coffee. I'm just
No, it's good. We like to hear your talk. That's why you're here.
Thank you. I'm
Festin.
stoked to be here. No, this is rad. When Isaiah texted me, I was sitting on my couch and I like jumped up. I was like, "Let's go!" I was so stoked.
Dude, you definitely, with that coffee, man, are bringing some good energy. Some
Yeah,
good
it's
vibes.
good. It's good.
No, I
But
love it.
Festin, have you had tea today?
Yeah, I had a cup of tea before I went to school,
Mm.
and my favorite cereal.
Oh, your Kellogg's with the strawberries?
Yep.
Good for you.
Thanks.
Wait, you eat cereal, bro?
Black people
I
eat
eat
cereal?
I don't know. You should ask him.
You got any?
Healthy people eat cereal, not just black people.
Mm.
Dude, I'm kind of scared about those black jokes we're making, dude. It's scary. Wait, did you record all the ones in the beginning?
What? No,
Oh.
I don't think so.
Because I thought you were, and I was like, dude, this is so gnarly.
That's why you were laughing so hard. Destin, you got anything to add? Questions,
No,
comments,
it's good.
concerns, feedback?
What do you mean feedback?
I feel like I've been doing most of the talking, unfortunately.
No, I got nothing to add. Just, it was a good episode. It was a good recording. I hope so. For those that will listen to it.
I think it was good, too.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was good.
we did good.
I feel like there's just a lot to say about each thing. It's like the last 2 years of my life have just been like, because I've been talking to about like sharing my testimony with multiple people in the past couple weeks. It's just like the past 2 years are like the biggest 2 years of my entire life. But it's not that much amount of time, so you have to like try to cram it all in and bounce back and forth. Sorry if I talk too much, but
That's why you're here, to talk too much.
That's why
That, yeah. I know
You think
we
you
all.
talk too much?
Me?
Connor, you think you talk too much?
Oh, sometimes definitely, yeah.
Do you see the guy sitting next to you?
That's dude. When I was listening to the podcast yesterday, you were not stop talking, dude. 90% of the time. But isn't it your
Yeah, okay.
podcast? Or is it your guys' podcast?
Podcast.
Okay.
It's in us.
But homeschoolers, you know how they be. They never talk.
Dude, I was homeschooled.
So I have to talk for them.
Wait. Oh, you did go to real school. Yeah, you went to the... Yeah, I listened to that.
All right.
I have one final question. Is there a verse that, I don't know, at any point where you were in Japan or YWAM or even Indo,
India.
A verse, like in the Bible?
was there like a verse in the Bible? Has there been a verse in the Bible that like has stuck out to you? That
Oh, yeah, here, I got a couple. I think I can... I wish I had my actual Bible on me. Somewhere in Hebrews, I think it's... I'm praying that it's Hebrews 13 right now. Because... Do you guys remember, like, right when I got back from YWAM, we were all at your house for, like,
Mhm.
a big ordeal. And... Dude, I forget where it is, but it's this verse in Hebrews that talks about your maturity and how it's like you have to grow out of the point of other people being your faith foundation of like, and that was YWAM for me. It was like these people are here and they're helping me grow closer to the Lord, but now I'm on my own. And that verse, like I just went back to that verse recently. That's why I don't understand why I can't remember it.
Is it Hebrews 6?
Yes, exactly that. You want to read it?
Yeah. Till verse 3?
Yeah.
Okay. Hebrews 6, 1 through 3. Therefore, let us move beyond the elementary teachings about Christ and taken forward to maturity, not laying again the foundation of repentance from acts that lead to death and of faith in God, instruction about cleansing rites, the laying on of hands, the resurrection of the dead, and the eternal judgment. And God permitting, we will do so.
Dude, and that verse is crazy because I was coming back and flying, or I had a 13-hour layover in the Philippines. So I just had a lot of time to think to myself, and I was kind of getting scared. I was like, okay, dude, I'm terrified. I'm going to go home and I'm going to fall again. Like, that is my biggest fear. And so I just started praying, and he's like, and the Lord was, like, kind of brought up that verse of just, dude, like, stop falling and then just asking for forgiveness and all this, like, easy kindergarten stuff, you know what I mean? That's just, like, I don't even know how to explain what kind of faith you'd call it, baby faith. Of just, like, oh, I'm trying, but oh, I fall. Lord, forgive me, I'm sorry. Fall again. Lord, forgive me, I'm sorry. It was like, step up, be the man that I've called you to be, follow me, and you probably won't have to ask for forgiveness that much. Like, you're going to fall and mess up, but you're not going to just be walking in and out of this Lord bubble, dude, and that's what I've been doing. And I was like, all right, Raj, let's go. And so I just came back with this mindset, like, nobody and nothing is going to make me compromise my relationship with the Lord ever again. Like, and that was like that word compromise. I don't even know where I learned that word, but it was just on my heart of like, you have been compromising and you've been falling and you've been giving up. And like I said, I want to be a man of God. I want people to see me and be able to be like, what's up with that guy? You know what I mean? And not for like other people to see and boast about, but I just want to be the man that the Lord has called me to be. And I don't want it to take another 10 years. I don't want it to be looking at my life in 5 years and be like, oh, man, why did I waste those 5 years when I could just be here now with God, and the rest is history, I guess. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And another thing, this is a super random thought, but I also, like, I used to, like, think of my life with, like, having kids and stuff, and I always was, like, I wasn't scared about my kids, like, making the same decisions I made or doing all this stuff, but then I was thinking to myself, whoa, dude, if I don't, like, stop certain things and I can't, like, let go of certain things, one, I probably won't even get to having kids at that point, but it's like, dude, you need to be able to be, like, what's that word? Example. What's like a better word for example? Like a good influence, and not just for like my future kids, but for like the Groms in our church, dude. Like, I love hanging out with them, and I went to like their little small group on Monday,
Mm-hmm.
and I was thinking to myself, dude, if I want to keep coming to this and like being a part of this, I cannot, like, sin in my life cannot be like a thing. You know what I mean? Like, obviously we're all gonna sin, but there's certain things that are very obvious in my life that I'm like, gone, because I can't be an influence to these kids and tell them not to do certain things if I'm doing those same exact things. That's hypocrisy, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And so just like, we were writing down goals, all of us, and like one of my goals, like weekly, is to be in like more than one small group, and like I'd love to lead a small group one day. That would be super rad, and just start the Christian Surfers thing with Emily here, and like take the time that the Lord's given me here. As much as I don't always love being on island, it's like, dude, you can still glorify the Lord here. You don't have to be away. I mean, that was another thing that going to Wyoming and doing all that traveling kind of set my mind in, is like, to glorify the Lord and do things, I had to be doing these crazy works. But that's just like a highlight that the Lord has been giving me, is being able to go on these trips and glorify Him. But then, was it even worth it if I just come back and throw it all away? Like, I'd rather go on this trip and then go on and spend the rest of the time I'm here on Maui glorifying Him and pursuing Him and following Him, and then letting Him use me to be the influence for, like, if we go on another trip and there's a Grom that's out there that's like me in the past, like, he's having a hard time with this and that, like, let the Lord use me to be an influence in him, and not, like, me looking up at all these other people and be like, oh, I wish I was like them, I wish I had faith like them, you know what I mean? Because I always look at people like that. Like, I've looked at you three like that for the longest time, of like, dude, these kids are rad. Like, why can't I just have faith like these guys? Like, I've held you guys at this pedestal, but then I was talking to the Lord again the other day, and I was like, and He was just telling me, dude, they're no different than you. They are men that have struggles, that they fail, but they're just choosing to continue to follow
Yeah,
me, and
yeah,
you're
yeah.
choosing to fall back. And sorry, what'd you say, Feston?
Said we fail every day.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And sometimes it's hard for me to realize, like, I'm not the only one in the gutter. And it's like, whoa. Because that was, sorry, backtrack a little bit again. That was another thing about endos. Everybody had their own crazy story of painfulness and hurt. And it was like, whoa, dude, I'm not the only one. It was crazy. And it was just like the first time I seen all these. I mean, they were like all adults and everything. I'm an adult too, but they were a little bit older. And it just felt so good to not feel alone. And even coming back, I don't feel alone anymore. Like, everybody goes through it. Everybody goes through the ring of life, and we're going to fall and struggle. But at the end of the day, it's our choice. Whether or not we're going to follow the Lord or not. And I choose to follow God.
Any closing thoughts? Feston, Sander, Riley?
No.
Yeah, just thank you, Connor, for coming on and making your mouth noises at the very end. You saved it. The best for last. Thank you for coming on. And what you said at the end too, like, when like our stories are powerful because of how powerful God's love is, and your story, it's going to be used for kids or for anyone that feel like they're alone or that they're the only one who goes through it. Like, our hope that we have in Christ is meant to be shared and all the glory given back to God. And that's what I see in you. And I'm super thankful to have you, like, as a friend and just as someone to come on our podcast who we spend time with, who we respect, who we love, and being able to share that with others too who are out there. So thank you again, Connor, for your story. And thank you to all the listeners. If you like this podcast, send it to a friend, share it. We really appreciate all you guys and your feedback, your comments. It literally makes Feston's day when we get one Spotify comment. He'll call me, he'll send me a screenshot. Like, I'll just be getting spammed by him.
We get
I should make sure that
we get
every time
spam screenshots on our group chat with us of
He
how many views we got or
Yeah.
the comment or
he doesn't have much going on in Oahu, but a Spotify comment makes his day. So you can find us. You cannot find us on Bumble or Rumble.
Last-
I
It's
had
on
no
YouTube,
idea.
too.
yeah.
You're on
Well,
YouTube?
We're on YouTube.
Yeah, I have
Like,
no idea.
Video?
We have like one or two.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
but I have no
Isaiah
idea.
doesn't want to be on camera.
Yeah,
It's not that they don't. It just makes it harder.
yeah,
Nope.
maybe. But I don't know why I said
Yeah,
last episode.
last time you
we
said
were
we're on Bumble, which
or
is a dating
Rumble.
site.
So funny.
I have no idea where that came from. But we're on Spotify, we're on Apple Podcast, we're on YouTube, and
We're everywhere.
yeah, we're everywhere.
Except Bumble.
You can run, but we can't hide. And that's our motto of the podcast.
I don't know.
So, again, thank you. We love you. And we're
Oh,
out of
yeah,
here.
On that, on,
Welcome
no,
to
on the
Campfire Podcast.
on the comments, the reviews. Shout out to Sierra's friends from Colorado.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
You
We
guys
got a
should
DM about
you
that.
You guys should leave us a review or a comment, and we appreciate you for listening to.
Yeah, we
People you don't
could
know. Thank you.
name drop them if they revealed themselves.
Okay, let's just say thank you and leave us a review or it's like Spotify comment or whatever you want. We just appreciate you joining us. Thank you.
Yeah. Well,
And thanks to Connor for sharing your story too.
No, thank you, Connor.
yeah.
Yeah, thank you guys for having me. This was rad. I mean, I love listening to the podcast, dude. It's so rad. I think it's so cool.
Thank you.
But yeah.
Yes, thank
Look
you.
at how much Riley's smiling.
I don't even know what to say,
Right.
but an awkward thank you. That's all I
I mean,
can say.
dude, I do have one more thing to add. I think, Riley, dude, you got to keep doing the Welcome to the Campfire Podcast. It's so soothing. It totally sets the mood for the rest of the podcast. Actually, I don't know if I've heard the rest of you. How you said it?
I think I have, but it's never been in the podcast.
I have like
Oh,
No, because
I think
we,
you need
we
to-
have like a backlog of it, right?
yeah, I have
Yeah.
Feston doing it. Actually, Feston's is crappy, so I need him to do it again when he's on island. But
When is that? When are you going to be on
I
island?
can tell you.
Oh.
They'll have to surprise you.
Wait,
You don't
am
know
I going to
how
be able to
much
listen to
it-
this before you post it? And
I mean, if you want to.
No.
What?
No,
I think there's some things
no,
that we should
dude.
probably cut out.
Well, I'll cut some things out.
No.
Don't worry.
Oh.
Like what?
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe let's just end the podcast now.
Okay, we're out for
We've
real.
been trying for the
Thank
past
you.
10 minutes.
Feston, shut up. We'll talk to you off mic. Please don't leave.
I will leave, actually.
Okay.
I think.
Press the
right.
button. Goodbye, everyone.
Goodbye.